There's a whole section of the Layers panel that very few people use. If you put this to use, it can save you a lot of time and really help you work faster and more organized. Let's have a look at it right now. So let's have a look at a tool in the Layers panel that very few people even look at or even aware it's there, but man, it can save you a lot of time and effort. And that's layer filtering. So if we look at the very top here of the Layers panel, you see this thing that says kind, and then all this different stuff. But let me show you how it works and also some tips on how you can use it to organize. So say, for example, we're working in this composite that I've created here. There's lots and lots of layers. Maybe you're doing a design, something like that, and you're trying to find different parts and work on different parts of the image, but there's a lot of scrolling. Even though I've been good and I've named all my layers, it still can be difficult. All right, so let's have a look at some different things we can do. The first one is, if you look at the type, it's kind of scattered throughout here. When I say type text, I want to organize it all at the top. So under kind, this gives us different things that we can filter by. We're going to choose text, and notice it doesn't change anything in a display. What it does is it just shows what's in the Layers panel. So even if these layers were hidden, they will still show up in the panel. So what I want to do is I want to take all these type layers, and if you notice here, we've got some of our titles as well as my signature here. Let's put them all together. So let's select all the text layers except for the top one. Now I'm going to click and drag. As I do, you'll see that thick blue line. When you release, what it's doing is it's moving them all together. You might not see it here, but when we turn off the text filtering, notice all the text layers are together now. And if you want to put them at the top, select them all, click, hold the Shift key, select again, and just drag them to the top. That same blue line appears. Let's put them together in a group. Control or Command G will put them in a group, and we'll call it text. And now we've got all our text together. Expand it by clicking the little arrow, and all our text is together. If I want to hide all the text, I can just turn it off on the group, or I can turn it off on individual levels. By the way, there's more than just kind. We're going to look at some other ones in just a moment, but let's look at the most important ones. One that you might want to work on is pixel layers. If I click on pixel layers, now it hides everything except for, the layers that I've been building my composite out of. So now it's very easy to see them, and we can, turn on and off different elements. We can work on different elements. So there's our woman. We can see, even if she's separated throughout the other layers of adjustments and things, they're all there together. Now, if we want to look at the adjustments, let me just turn off that, and now we're going to click on adjustments. Now we can see all of our adjustments that we've made. And for example, I've done some work here, and painting the light and different things, and we can turn those on or off very easily. So it makes it easy to go in, and of course we can change any of these adjustments. While we're here, we can also change the masks. A useful way to work sometimes, though, is to have the adjustments and the layers together. And now we can see, for example, because I created this base layer, which doesn't do much on its own, but when I take the adjustments together, because I clipped it there, we get pretty much more of our original coloring from my photo. And then we drag it up here. Now it's showing the stylized glow and stuff from the flames and stuff. And so it makes it easy to work that way. Also notice when we turn more than one on, we can turn the type layer on or the text layer, and we can see them all here. Interesting thing, when we're working with the filtering, it hides the groups and it just reveals all the layers. So that's also another way to find stuff that might be nested inside of different groups, and we can just surface them all very, very quickly. Let me just turn those off, and we're going to go to a different one now. Let's have a look at this one here. It shows the smart objects, because this reveals the base photos that I've been using to build up different parts of this composite here. And sometimes I might nest them together. We see the amps. We just double click. It's going to open a new layer, and we can say, here's all the different little pieces that I put together. just kind of building it. It's not very realistic. It was just kind of a fun thing I was doing here. And, we may show just the pixel layers and the smart objects together. And at any time, if we just hit this, we just turn that off, it takes us to our original, so we can see there's all our groups and everything like that. And then, of course, we can turn our filtering on at any time. But there's more we can do with the filtering. If we click, notice there's a lot of different things. Now, some of these we will use and some of them we won't. Groups can be kind of useful. Oh, by the way, we've just gone to everything that's in a group. And if you hold down the Control key, that would be Command on Mac, and click, you can collapse or expand all the groups together. So we can see, here's the ones with our model. We can show without and with, and you can see that's basically all the layers I'm using to build her, and also, a little bit of coloring and some different things are happening in there as well, such as these two that are going to affect everything. So we can see there all the different layers that I'm using to get our model to kind of match. Let's turn those other effects back on. One way a lot of people like to work is with color. All right, so color is an interesting way of working if you want to group things together. You could use it for different people working on it or different iterations. There's a lot of different things you could use color for. But let me show you, we haven't applied any color on here, but let me show you another filter and how you might do that, and then we can come back to that. So one of the ones that is quite useful is name. So if you've named your layers, you can make things easy. Let's type fire. And we've got some fire here. Let's select those layers, and we can right click and we can choose color. Why don't we just make them red? Okay, and then we can just clear that. And now we can go back to color. And now if we want to filter by color, we could choose, hey, show me the red ones. And there's our fire. So if we choose attribute, you can see there's a lot of different things we have here. One of them we can choose is empty. And that means we've got layers here with literally nothing in them. We could select these and we could quite easily just delete them. So you can use that for cleaning up. And we could show not visible, so these would be the hidden layers. And if we look at the visible ones, we could say, hey, do we want to use any of these? So we might want to audition these and see if we want to use them. I actually probably want to keep this flame glow because it's adding a little bit more color down here. So let me turn that on. Looks nice, it's adding that color, but notice it's no longer there because it's now visible. So here's another little trick. So if you want to audition these hidden layers and see if you want to use them, just select them all. Click the first one, hold shift, click the last one, and then just give them a color. Let's call them blue. And then once again, go back to color. This is another way you might use these colors. We choose blue. Now we can safely try them. Say, this gives a glow around there. No, I don't really like that. We've got some other flames. I already know I don't like these flames because they're too opaque. But I did kind of clone pieces off them when I was building the other flames. So they kind of build up layers. Same with that one. And this looks just a little too aggressive, so we're going to turn that off. And then we're going to take this flare overlay, which I do like. This was how I kind of added this flare at the very end to just kind of pull everything together. And to me, it makes the piece look more complete. And once again, we can just turn it on or off. And lots of different attributes that we can use when you're working in a multi-layered document to save yourself a ton of time and then help you get things organized. Because sometimes I have a lot of layers like this image. Sometimes I'll create an image like this. This was 100% in Photoshop from scratch. And if we look at the working file, you can see there's 247 layers in here. And so every one of these elements, you see that's just part of that little screw there I created by hand. 100% in Photoshop, no photos, no scans, no 3D, no AI used, just tools inside of Photoshop. And these are actually already kind of partially flattened down. Where things are even nested within things, you can see, every little piece here was built up by hand. But even when you look at some like here, for example, I'd already built this over many layers and kind of merged these together. So the original document itself has over 1,000 layers in it to make this guitar. And I even went down to creating the reflections on the paint here. And obviously the textures on the strings. So I'm Colin Smith. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you learned anything in the comments underneath. As always, the written steps are also going to be on the website at PhotoshopCAFE.com. And also while you're there, head over to PhotoshopCAFE.com/vault where you can download tons of Photoshop extras and add-ons and ebooks and stuff like that completely free. And if you're new, welcome to the cafe. Hit the subscribe button, turn on notification. You won't miss any of my tutorials. And until next time, I'll see you at the cafe.